Welcome to our first webinar of our series. Today we have Ashley Mariani and Sarah Harris of PittMoss. We also have Blake Barry as a panelist. Just remember, if you have any questions during the webinar, there's a Q&A section on the bottom right-hand side of your screen. You can click there, type your question, and Sarah or Ashley will answer it as we go along. Okay, Ashley, you're on.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate everyone joining us this morning. My name is Ashley Mariani. I'm the Director of Business Development here at PittMoss, and I'll let Sarah introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. This is Sarah Harris. I'm the Director of Wholesale Operations at PittMoss, which means I am your contact for everything to do with PittMoss. So I interface with all of our distributors and their reps to make sure they have all the resources and information they need about PittMoss.
Fantastic. So we're really excited to have this opportunity to tell you a little bit about the backstory of PittMoss, why we're even doing what we're doing, what makes us a really unique growing media in the marketplace today. And really what PittMoss is growing media made from recycled paper. And we always like to kind of step back and think about just our use of soil and how we even have potting soils on the market today and where this all stems from. And really back in the 1920s, we were steaming soil out into the fields and steaming it to remove pathogens and other things that we didn't want in greenhouse productions. And then around the 1960s, we saw retail potting soils hit the market with the introduction of PittMoss. And PittMoss was discovered by some scientists at Cornell who introduced peat along with other additives like perlite and vermiculite to make a retail potting mix, which is really similar to pretty much everything else you see on the market today. And then we think here, fast forward to 2019, we think we have something pretty revolutionary, and that is instead of using peat as our base, we use recycled paper. There's a few reasons why we use recycled paper. The two big ones, though, are sustainability and performance. So recycled paper, really we're interested in finding anything that used to be a tree that was then processed into some sort of paper product, whether that be a newspaper or cardboard, and it's headed for the landfill. And we want to scoop that up and process it into high-performing growing media. And the cool thing about paper fiber is that it's made from lignocellulosic fiber, or those particles are very similar to a biochar as opposed to like a peat-based fiber. So it just has some really natural, great properties for enhancing plant growth. And how we go about kind of sourcing our material and making it is we really source all of our recycled material as local as possible. Most of our material comes in within 30 miles of the plant, so we really want to reduce transportation costs and keep everything as processed locally as possible. We process and engineer it in our plant here in Pittsburgh, and then we blend it, and we have some proprietary and patented processes and machines that allow the fibers to be created and manufactured in a way that really creates a wonderful potting mix. And a lot of that engineering has to do with turning that paper fiber into a soil that has all these fantastic properties that we know plants love. So whether it's physical, chemical, biological, or environmental, we feel that PittMoss really checks the mark on all of those. So whether it is having great airspace, so lots of air pockets throughout the media, so really good levels of porosity, wonderful water holding properties, so it is naturally hydrophilic, so it absorbs water similar to a paper towel, really uniform particle sizes, super clean. We manufacture everything under our facility's roof. Everything is hand sorted and tested, so it's just never exposed to air or other potential harmful ingredients. So it's just a very clean process way that we create the material. Incredible microbial activity, and of course recycled. And those all kind of lead to these big properties that we like to touch on. So when selling PittMoss, we touch on four big things. It's hydrophilic, it's a living soil, has great aeration, and it's clean and safe. So when we talk about hydrophilic, if you imagine how a paper towel absorbs a puddle of water, it kind of wicks it evenly throughout that paper. That's kind of what you'll experience whenever you are watering a pot filled with pit moss. It just kind of eases into the pot and kind of holds it in there, kind of like a gel mold. But because we have so much porosity, you get really great drainage. So you won't experience root rot. It almost, it provides the roots access to the water and nutrients as it's needed. You're not force feeding the plants and just kind of pouring tons and tons of water on that pot all the time. It's just a wonderful media to absorb water naturally. So you also get, of course, reduced nutrient leaching if you have more of a hydrophilic media. I touched a little bit in the previous slide about the microbial activity, and that really goes to it being a living soil. So all this natural biologic activity, commercial blends are starting to introduce mycorrhizae into their mixes, and that's because a lot of science is telling us, similar to how our guts need like probiotics to process and digest nutrients, plants need those natural microbes to digest and uptake nutrients into their root systems. Instead of having to add mycorrhizae, pit moss as a plant-based material is just naturally has all that good stuff right there. So it really helps improve the nutrient absorption. It requires a lot less fertilizer over time. So there's just a lot of great natural things occurring in the pit moss media that allows for just really great plant growth. I talked a lot about the aeration already, but again, lots of air space in there for your plants, and it's clean and safe. The number one question we get is heavy metals with the newspaper ink. It's all soy-based. Newspaper is actually OMRI listed, so completely good for organic use. So it's a very clean, pesticide-free, clean material. I'm not going to spend too much time on just some environmental problems with the use of peat moss, but I will spend just a second on it because it really was the inspiration for the founding of our company. Our founder read a Sierra Club magazine. He was working at a garden center and saw truckloads of peat coming in and kind of discovered it's really not that great for the environment. There's a ton of carbon emissions associated with the mining of peat. Outside of the U.S. and Europe, they're actually banning peats in some potting mixes. So it's not necessarily a trend here in the U.S., but it's certainly something that we're seeing increased demand for, and really is because of the environmental issues and just a demand for alternatives on the market. And we really feel like we provide that. So we focus in two main areas, retail and commercial, and I'm going to focus a little more on our retail products today. We have three of our main lines are our Prime, Performance, and Plentiful. Prime is a OMRI listed. OMRI, for those of you who aren't familiar, is Organic Material Review Institute. They really are certify a lot of the organic materials you see on gardening products today. So Prime is an OMRI listed soil amendment containing no fertilizer. So it's almost like one you can somewhat compare it one-to-one with peat moss, but I like to use it as a soil amendment, just improving any soils. Like I have around like last year's old bag of soil, mixing in pit moss prime with it really will help it. Mixing it with native soil is fantastic. Raised beds, it just will really help aerate and improve the water management of any mix you add it to. PittMoss Performance is a ready-to-use potting mix. It is not OMRI listed because it contains a controlled release fertilizer. It's a great all-purpose potting mix. It's awesome for hanging baskets, flowers. It's just a really great high-performing mix. You can't go wrong with that. But if you have people that demand organic, we also launched late last year our organic mix, PittMoss Plentiful, and that has all organic nutrients in it. And it provides just a really great natural and organic environment for plants and vegetables. So again, this is perfect for your baskets, your pots. Use it just as you would any traditional potting mix. And we do actually sell a specific blend. If any of you work or are in areas where if the production of cannabis is legal, medical, or recreational, have a lot of hydro stores in the area, CannaBlend is a soil amendment that we are selling specific for that plant. And there are a lot of benefits of selling PittMoss. I kind of mentioned before, yes, there are a lot of potting soils on the market today, but it really is unique. Again, being completely recycled. We are the only soil that has been tested by a company, Redfield Proctor, for being completely 100% pesticide free. It really passed with flying colors, and all the other soils they tested ran into some issues. And that's more critical for the cannabis market for growing those crops, but it of course applies across all plants. And so we're really proud of that designation. We were a Shark Tank product, so we were on Shark Tank 4 years back, and that's really key because, one, people are very familiar with the show Shark Tank. Mark Cuban's a repeat investor in our company. Shark Tank, it re-airs every month or so, like every 6 weeks. That's really important because I get about 5,000 to 10,000 people going on my Where to Buy page. So being a seller of PittMoss is awesome because we'll feature you on our Where to Buy page, provide you with a lot of resources. So anytime Shark Tank airs, you can capture some of that free advertising by being featured on our Where to Buy page on PittMoss.com. We're investing a lot this year in more PR activities, so hopefully more places like This Old House and everything will be featuring PittMoss. I'm looking at some really exciting publications this year. And we're not in big box, so we're really focused on independent retailers, really staying true to our local independent method of doing business. Sarah, how am I doing on time?
You're doing great. You're at about 10 minutes.
Cool. All right. So our commercial products, if you are working with garden centers that have commercial operations, this is a great addition to sell them our commercial grade blend. So we do sell 100% PittMoss. It's called our grower grade material. It's pure PittMoss. You can grow directly in this if you fertilize it right, water it right, but we do want to work with those growers a little more closely if they're transitioning to a full PittMoss operation. That said, if people want to take advantage of some recycled material and some of the great properties of PittMoss, but aren't ready to fully transition to a completely recycled blend, we have a couple options for them. PM1 is about 30 to 35% PittMoss with it's a peat-like mix with perlite. So we get actually some Premier Pro Mix peat, and we mix that with perlite and 30 to 35% PittMoss. It is an incredible mix that's been outperforming a lot of trials with Pro Mix that we've been testing with some commercial growers. So really excited about that. And then those that like bark mixes, we also provide a mix with PittMoss, bark, and peat. All of our retail products can also be bagged in these 75 cubic foot super sack bags. Performance, the one I mentioned with that controlled release fertilizer, is great for landscaping projects. So if you have landscapers we work with a True Value, for example, that sells a lot of bulk products to landscapers. They just buy bags of our performance that the landscapers pick up at their True Value store and use in landscaping projects. Great way to differentiate your business. And then in development right now, we're hoping we'll make some more announcements on this, is a PittMoss Quar blend. So a peat-free commercial blend that we're really excited to announce in the coming weeks. Some uses just for PittMoss is, I kind of mentioned before, landscaping projects, hanging baskets is awesome. You know, the amount of water you have to use in hanging baskets. Just some fun, like more artsy projects. This one below that kind of looks like a forest is kind of neat. I always like to talk about this because it's an interesting application. The Frick Environmental Center here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania is a living building. So basically they need to be able to, if catastrophe happens, this building is able to grow food and completely survive, kind of on its own without the need of any type of power or anything like that. So what they do is actually they put a ton of PittMoss down in this field in the forest, and it actually is where all of the waste from their restrooms goes, and it gets kind of cycles through the PittMoss. And they were surprised a year after they were up and running that now it's like turned into this green space where they thought it was going to kind of be this like brown space. There's actually plants growing in it now, so they're really happy. But it's a really interesting use of PittMoss for just community projects, improving degraded landscapes, and just improving the soil and just spaces around us, and using it for living building projects. We have a ton of case studies, lots of videos and stuff attesting to the use of PittMoss in the field. Really excited with our YouTube page. You can see a lot of video testimonials. So check out @Grow with PittMoss. Our YouTube page, again, features just a ton of good stuff on there to learn more about us. Our blog continues to be updated with different case studies and different ways PittMoss is being featured.
I will point out for our garden centers, as well as our reps that are listening out there, on the YouTube page, there are some fantastic demos that feature comparison products, as well as pots being watered, and how including PittMoss in your pot really creates some beneficial opportunities for your customers for water absorption and prevention of nutrient leaching. So I really encourage folks to, if they want to have a better idea about specific PittMoss properties and just some live demos, to really visit that YouTube channel.
Absolutely. And those live demos, one of them, our CEO, is actually doing one where he compares watering a PittMoss pot to like a traditional soil blend. And that demo is something we actually do at garden centers. You know, we'll post up and hang out at a garden center one day and kind of get a crowd of people around us watching this demo. And it's a great way to sell through a pallet of product. And that's something we are absolutely open to working with garden centers on, are those events and being in store and helping them out and getting their employees educated and up to speed with the awesome results that PittMoss can provide their customers. And as you can see below here, a bunch of trials that we've done, from standard retail products like your Miracle-Gro, but even commercial blends like Pro Mix, that bottom middle one, the PittMoss, and that custom grower mix, that's the grower up in Slippery Rock. That's the same Ajuga plants at 4 weeks, and he's able to go to market a lot faster. He gets a 30% reduction in crop losses, so he's a big believer in adding PittMoss into his mix. Just some more trial results, and really it is because we're engineering the media to have all the properties we know plants love to thrive in. And so roots just really take off really evenly throughout the pot, and just leading to a much healthier and thriving plant. And really, to sum it up, I really think PittMoss is really helps differentiate whether it's a product line, it's something unique you can talk to your customers or your garden centers about. And we're constantly putting out more information, looking for ways to educate people. So we encourage you to subscribe at PittMoss.com. There's a forum that you can sign up for our emails. My personal email is Ashley@PittMoss.com, and I really should have included Sarah. She's much more important. Sarah is SARA@PittMoss.com. She mentioned she is your go-to rep. Any questions you have about the product, whether it's pricing or you want links to videos or testimonials or references, she's a great contact to have in terms of helping you guys out when it comes to selling or learning more about the products. So I don't know if we have any questions now or how we're doing on time, but I'd love to open it up to any questions there are.
As we wait for questions, I'll point out that we do have 3 sizes available in our retail materials. So they all come in 10 quart, 1 cubic foot, and 2 cubic foot sizes. We do have a mixed palette available that includes all 3 products, the Prime, the Performance, and the Plentiful, in all 3 sizes. So if you have a garden center who's really looking to get started with PittMoss, that's a great way to incorporate that into their garden center. We also have point of purchase materials that we're able to provide to garden centers to help them create more sell-through, including being listed on our Find a Store page. As Ashley said, we do get a lot of traffic for folks looking for centers that carry PittMoss. They're able to search those in their regional area via zip code. So for all of our reps or garden centers that are already currently carrying our product, please send that information to me, and we can go ahead and make sure that we have that garden center listed on our Find a Store page as well.
Absolutely. That is definitely key to make sure everyone's listed and we keep that up to date. So it's a great benefit. We've had stories where people are, driving 50 miles to a garden center because they saw it on Shark Tank and that was the closest one near them. So it's a great tool to little extra marketing for everybody.
Ashley, Sarah, I'll reach out to you. I'll shoot my contact information. I'd like to follow up with you on that where to buy page that you just mentioned, and then the YouTube information. I want to get some more information from you, and then put something together, and then we'll send that out to the sales team. I did have one quick question, and I'll shoot you an email this morning. Are you, in terms of differentiation, are you the only ones that have or use the recycled paper, or is there other competitors out there? Okay.
Nope.
Okay. Very good.
And that is one of the reasons why we are such a unique product. We are the only ones who are currently using recycled paper to create a growing media that offers folks interested in amending their current material that they're growing in with a sustainable option, or planting directly into a complete mix.
Absolutely. And I will say there are some garden centers, for example, that really like to use blends. And so they'll resell their blended material with PittMoss, like kind of white label it, for example. And so that might be, I guess another product, but still PittMoss products in there. So it really is a unique way. The manufacturing of it, a lot of people think, okay, you're taking paper and you're grinding it up. Like, what's so special about that? But the reality is, it's pretty scientific process. There's a lot of technology that's going into the back of it, just in terms of how we're working those fiber particles. So there's a lot of research and development behind this, and it's not something that you can pick up and just grind some paper, because the reality is it will turn into soggy paper mache, and you can't grow anything in that. So we really do have something incredibly unique, and we're excited to be partnering with Arett to help make it more available to the marketplace.
Thank you very much, Ashley and Sarah, for that great presentation. And this will be available, I'm recording it, so it'll be available out on the internet for people to watch at a later time.